name is Sheena McCullum, and I come from Pietermaritzburg in South Africa, so
Fan-
KwaZulu-Natal.
Fantastic. How long have you been in Thailand now, Sheena?
It's almost 2 months,
Okay, wow. And
so very short.
has it been quite a cultural shock for you? Quite a cultural difference?
For me, not it. You've got to be open-minded, but I've grown up in an environment where I've lived in different countries, from Uganda to Mozambique to Swaziland. So for me, learning about new cultures is quite an easy thing to adapt to. So I'm quite open-minded to learning about cultures, foods, and the way people live. So it's quite an easy adaptation for me. But for other people, you've just got to learn to sort of be open-minded and accept what's around you.
The idea of yours to come to Thailand initially, sort of what sparked that?
I absolutely love kids, so I decided I needed to make a change to learn about new people, and I thought teaching in Thailand would be a good start because I
Fan-
get to spend the time with children.
Fantastic. And sorry, me asking, how old are you now?
25.
Okay. So
Yeah.
can you tell a little bit about the course?
Yeah, no, definitely. When I got there, there's one thing you've got to get used to, though, that is can be quite difficult to adapt to coming from South Africa, but is the way Thai people sort of live, and the way things is kind of like just go with the flow. You just need to accept sometimes you're not actually going to know what the plan is, or what's going to be happening in the next 2 days, but you just kind of have to accept as it comes and try and go with what's been told as it comes around. So some people really battle with that, other people don't. But in terms of the course, because our main trainer was Scott,
Yes.
he's brilliant. He really is quite a teacher to sort of live up to. He's a lot of fun. He's very engaging, and I actually learned a lot from him. And I often either Skype him or Facebook him to ask him advice about lesson plans and teaching. So I try and keep in contact with him to get his advice about certain things, about sort of advice about how to set up a plan to engage my students more when I feel like they aren't following what I'm saying, or I can see them sort of drifting into the distance, and I need to sort of get them to have more fun and get engaged in class.
Just a
So
question
I
from
use him as a tool for quite often, actually.
Brilliant. Just a question. You know, we have a lot of people that come to us and say, "Oh, look, I don't need to do the course. I've heard of people who've been over there and they just go and find their own job." Do you feel that the course was quite essential to you in terms of being able to teach properly?
The main reason why I decided to take the course in Thailand was purely for the reason I didn't have a degree, so I was concerned about placement on my own, having done an online TEFL course.
Right.
So the course facilitates you in a whole. There's various other things from like bank accounts and everything else that you won't be able to do on your own. It's quite a difficult thing to do because you need to first get your work permit and everything before they allow you to have a Thai bank account. So the course helps a huge amount in setting up things like bank accounts, cell phones, all of that. So when you arrive, it's literally handed to you in a little package and it's done. So it makes things really smooth and easy. And from there, it's simple to get around. I mean, so once your bank account's done, it's easy.
Sheena,
And that's the hardest thing to do.
is this the Sheena the actual placement? Did they only place you when you finished the course, or were they busy doing it whilst you were at course?
They don't actually, they only place you once you finish the course. However, I got a placement early, so I got told before I'd finished.
Okay.
Because I got an immediate placement when I was expecting to only start in November, because now is actually summer holidays for Thailand. But whatever the case was, I don't know, I had an agent that found me a position and I went straight to school. I literally finished my course on the Friday, got on a bus on Sunday, and I started work on the Monday.
Sheena,
So it was fast.
with regards, just living in Thailand, and how do you find the language barrier?
You learn to be able to read and understand. You become very good at charades, that's for sure. Trying to point and show things with your hands. But you do learn Thai. You pick up your main, like I tried to learn from the day that I arrived. I tried to learn the basic greetings and the pleases and thank yous, so that I could at least they could see I was trying, and they would put, because as soon as any culture that you go into, you put a specific effort into trying to understand their culture or trying to learn their language, even if you completely mess it up, but they can understand you, they put a whole lot of effort into trying to help you. So I think I started learning the basic greetings my second day in Thailand, and I used to walk down the street and try and say hello to everybody as I'm walking down the street. So it becomes quite easy. You learn your basic things on like fruit and vegetables and your basic eating sort of words, and that comes quickly. But I mean, there's a lot of people in the same in the same shoes. So I'm in quite a small village, so there's not that many foreigners. So it is quite rural, and there's minimal English, but I'm getting around quite fine because they've got to know me and they know who I am, and they already know that I eat chili, and they've learned it, and I've only been here for a week at the school. So you become a little community quite quickly. So the language barrier is actually easily overcome.
A day in your life now that you're teaching, just a little bit about how you live. How far from school do you live at the moment? Are you staying in an apartment, or how does and also did the school organize your accommodation for you?
At the moment, I'm staying in one of the houses that the school owner owns, so which is literally 5 meters from the school gate. But my contract doesn't include accommodation, so I'm in the process of trying to find a house because there's another American girl that will be moving into that house because it's part of her contract. So I'm in the process of trying to find a place, but I'm quite close to school at the moment. But in terms of living, it's really, I mean, I don't have any of the sort of creature comforts that I have back home. I don't have a washing machine. You go back to hand wash. You don't have flushing toilets, but you just have the little water buckets, and I have a cold shower, but it's fine because it's 40 degrees here. So cold shower is rather refreshing. And in terms of, I mean, our house is very simple, it's basic, but you've got everything you need. You've got your bed, you've got your pillow, you've got your duvet, it's got an aircon in it, or a fan, and so that's all you really need to survive. You don't need like a luxurious home. I mean, I've been to some people's places and they've got it set up, but they've also been here much longer. So I guess after a couple of months of being in the country, you tend to look for the things that make you comfortable, and especially if you start making it your home. So at the moment, I'm in a position where I'm literally going to work, and the school that I'm at is very serious about the education. So we work from 8 to 5 every day. So the lessons are strict. Some of the students have got 2 in P3, which is grade 3, that are 8 years old, that are top spelling champions in the province, top impromptu speech champions. So we've got a brilliant school. Whereas other schools you'll go to, the English levels are much lower, and you basically play games. So your teaching levels, I'm actually having to set up lesson plans, follow books. It's a lot more stricter. So I'm actually teaching proper lessons as opposed to just playing games.
A lot of people want to know, when you go into the classroom for the first time and you get all these little eyes looking at you, can any of them speak English, and how do you communicate with them?
I was lucky with the school that I went into now. The English level is quite good. So they could say hello if you walked in and said good morning. They said good morning, how are you? I'm fine, thank you, and you. So it's all very choral. They've learned the basic greetings. So it's like hello, how are you? So if you go out of the normal pattern, a lot of them will get lost. But depending where you get placed, I mean, some of the schools you go to, like one of the teaching crack schools that we did up in outside of Chiang Rai, the level of English was much lower. So you simplify your sentences right down to almost words. So when you're trying to describe, like, my name is Sheena, you'll be saying name Sheena and trying to point it, literally putting it down to like 1 or 2 words. And your speech has to be drastically slowed down, which is something to adapt to, because I talk very fast because I try and get a lot of talking into like one sentence in a short space of time, and I realize often that I'm talking too fast, and they look at you and they're like, I have no idea what you've just said. And I'm like, okay, hold on, let's say that again, slow it down. You've got to learn to talk slowly so that they can understand. But you do a lot of pointing, a lot of imitating, a lot of demonstrating, and they're smart kids and they actually want to learn, so they do pick up very quickly. And they love the foreign teachers, absolutely love foreign teachers.
Do you find that it's quite stressful setting up your plans, your lesson plans, getting ready for the next day? I mean, it's quite a big responsibility that what you're doing. And do
Yes,
you find, when you go home, you've got to spend a lot of your time preparing for the next day, or do you get to a point where you can sort of say, well, I'm in the groove now, and I know what I'm up to, and I can relax a bit?
yeah, you do. In the beginning, I think you will want to plan it down to like the last minute of your lesson, just so that you know what you're doing. Because if you go in expecting one thing and you get to the class and they actually understand you, that means your lesson that initially was an hour long has now gone down to about 15 minutes because they understand you. And then you sit there and you're like, okay, now I've got to try and sort of thumb suck something quickly to keep them. I try and just there's not a lot of planning involved. I've got a lot of books which we follow, so it's quite easy. I just go from story to story or whatever the exercise we're doing. But I try and do a lot of extra worksheets like word searches, word searches, that type of thing. Sort of fun but educational as I have as fillers. So if the lesson finishes early or the exercise is I don't have long enough to do another exercise, but they can do a little worksheet. I have fillers which I keep in and have it broken down into the different grades so that they can handle it. So I've got little booklets for my grade ones, which they'll be drawing themselves, and we do vocab on them as a person. So we go from glasses to eyes. And then my P3s, which is grade 3, are much stronger. I've got just little pictures that I give them, and then they write a story, and then I help them with their sentence structure. So depending on their level, I have a lot of things that I have planned extras as fillers, but the basic lesson structure is pretty much set out for me because we follow a book. So there's not really that much planning involved, but I like to sort of be one step ahead because I don't want to be stuck. I want to try and keep them having fun and actually enjoying the learning process.